After leaving the White House, Michael Deaver founded a successful lobbying firm in Washington and dabbled in television. He's now a senior executive with Edelman, the world's largest independent public relations firm. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, John.
And thanks for joining us. As a kid, growing up in Bakersfield, California, were you interested in politics then?
Well, I suppose my family was very interested in politics and were avid Republicans and worked for Tom Dewey and people like that. So I guess it was in my blood.
When did you first meet Ronald Reagan?
I actually first met him in 1960. Would have been 1965 when he was going around the state of California, listening, as he called it, to find out if people wanted him to run for governor. And there was a small group of people. I was living in Santa Barbara at that time, small group of people. We had dinner with him. And he was much more than I ever thought he was, having that experience, which I think was an experience that thousands of people had after they did meet him.
Did you think of him as an actor who wants to get into politics? But did you continue that on and thought that someday he might be president of the United States?
No, I'm certainly not at that first meeting. I mean, I thought he was an actor who wanted to get into politics. He was an actor who wanted to get into politics. So, and I think for some time, I thought of him that way, as most Californians did. But, you know, he proved himself by taking on very tough decisions early on, and we saw this sort of common sense and judgment that we hadn't seen in politicians before. And
somebody who would do what they said they were going to do. That was a little bit unusual, too.
That was pretty unusual. I remember we did a poll at the end of his 8 years as governor of California, and a lot of people said they liked him, a lot of people said they didn't like him, but it was something like 80% said, but he did what he said he was going to do.
Mm-hmm. Has he changed? Did he change over the years?
I've always said, John, that of all of us who were with him from the beginning, he was the only one of us that didn't change. He was always the same person up until the last time I saw him.
What about you? How did you change?
I don't know. I think a lot of things have happened to me that have changed my outlook on life. But
are you more cynical now?
No, less. I'd say I was less cynical, more sympathetic to other views, less partisan. Try to be more open to other people's points of view, and you know, those were all traits that I saw and learned from Ronald Reagan.
Is this because of age or experiences you had, or both?
I think it's both. I think it is. I watched Reagan all those years traveling with him, watched the way he reacted to people, watched the way he dealt with difficult situations. And there was this decency about him. You know, he always said you could disagree, but you didn't have to be disagreeable. Well, I was a disagreeable guy for a long time, and you know, winning was everything. And I think Reagan, all of that, you couldn't be around the man as I was for nearly 25 years every day without some of that. You know, you're saying to yourself, "Gosh, you know, why do I look at things so differently than this guy I respect and admire so much?" So I think a lot of it had to do with Reagan. Some of it had to do with experiences, of course.
Do you still keep up with Nancy Reagan? I remember calling you back when the president was near death, and we would call because you had that contact with the Reagans as to how he was doing and so forth.
Sure. No, I still talk to Nancy at least once a week, usually twice a week. We check in with each other to be sure, see how each other's doing.
How's she doing?
She's doing great. You know, I mean, I think obviously she misses her partner every day, but you know, she has such a keen interest in the same things she always did, politics and her friends, and her main purpose today is the Reagan Library and Foundation out in California.